The flight attendant pointed straight at me and shouted,
"Sir, you need to get off this plane right now."
A few passengers laughed. Someone behind me said,
First class isn't for everyone.
phones came out. People were recording. But 5 minutes later, that same plane watched her lose her job. I'm 72 years old. My name is Walter Brooks, and I'm an older black man who has spent most of his life traveling for work. After 30 years as a civil engineer, airports and airplanes became a normal part of my life. But that afternoon, on a flight from Atlanta to Chicago, something happened I hadn't experienced in a long time. My granddaughter had bought me a first-class ticket for my birthday. She told me, "Grandpa, after everything you've done, you deserve to travel comfortably." So I boarded early and found seat 2A. I placed my bag in the overhead compartment and sat down quietly. The cabin was still filling up. A man across the aisle looked at me, then at the seat number, then back at me again. He leaned toward the woman beside him and whispered something. She glanced over at me, then smiled, not kindly, the kind of smile people make when they think something is ridiculous. A few seconds later, the flight attendant walked down the aisle. She stopped when she reached my seat. Her eyes moved from the seat number to my face.
Sir, can I see your boarding pass?
She said slowly. I handed it to her calmly. She glanced at it for a moment, then frowned.
This is first class.
A couple of passengers chuckled. I nodded.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
She crossed her arms.
Sir, are you sure you're in the right cabin?
The man across the aisle laughed loudly.
Buddy,
He said loudly.
coach is about 20 rows behind you.
Someone behind him whispered.
They really need to check people before boarding.
Another passenger added quietly.
People like him always try to sit up here.
A few people laughed again. Phones slowly started lifting. The attendant's tone became sharper.
Sir, I'm going to need you to return to your assigned section.
I kept my voice calm.
My ticket says 2A.
She shook her head.
Sir, sometimes passengers pick up the wrong boarding pass.
The man across the aisle chuckled again.
Yeah.
He said,
He probably grabbed someone else's ticket!
more laughter, more whispers. I had seen that look before. The silent assumption. The quiet belief that a black man like me couldn't possibly belong in first class. The attendant pressed the call button. Another crew member arrived.
What's going on? He's refusing to move.
The first attendant pointed at me. Passengers were openly watching now. Someone in row 3 was recording the entire thing. The flight attendant finally raised her voice.
Sir, you need to get off this plane right now.
I slowly stood up, not because I was wrong, but because arguing in front of a plane full of strangers rarely changes anyone's mind. Just as I stepped into the aisle, a man in a dark suit walked onto the plane from the jet bridge. He stopped when he saw the scene.
Is there a problem here?
He asked.
This passenger is refusing to leave first class.
The second attendant replied. The man looked at me carefully. Then his expression changed.
Mr. Brooks? Yes?
He smiled slightly.
I'm David Reynolds, the airline's Regional Operations Director.
The attendants froze. David looked at my boarding pass, then at the seat, then back at the flight attendant.
Why exactly is Mr. Brooks being asked to leave?
The entire cabin went quiet. The attendant hesitated.
We thought there might be a mistake.
David shook his head slowly.
No mistake.
Then he turned so the entire cabin could hear him.
Mr. Walter Brooks is one of our longest-standing platinum members.
Phone slowly lowered, but David wasn't finished.
He's also the lead civil engineer who helped design 2 of the airports our airline operates today.
The laughter disappeared instantly. The man across the aisle suddenly became very interested in his phone. David turned to the flight attendant.
Step off the aircraft with me.
Her face turned pale.
Sir,
Now!
They walked off the plane. 5 minutes later, the captain came down the aisle.
Mr. Brooks, we sincerely apologize for what happened.
He said respectfully. He paused.
The flight attendant involved will not be continuing this flight.
The cabin stayed completely silent. No whispers, no laughter. As I sat back down in seat 2A, the man across the aisle avoided eye contact completely. The same man who had laughed earlier.
Because sometimes the strongest response to humiliation isn't anger. It's calmly sitting down in the seat people said you didn't deserve.